Group E production car races. Australia's own Holden versus Falcon. Coming down to the grid, they've got two 8-lappers, 31.44 kilometres. And this time, as Jim Zarefos stood in the pits yesterday watching, Peter Fitzgerald took pole position with a 55.34 to a 55.78 for Zarefos. Wanless into third place and Bosanjak into fourth grid position. That completes the first two rows. Then it's McDonald and the giant killing Forshaw in the Suzuki. Mark Brame backing him up, and Lewis in the Commodore, shamed by the two little 1.3 litre cars in front. Gordon Levin, a hard runner in the Commodore. Watkinson in the Corolla mixing it with them. Burton gets his Mitsubishi Lancer onto 11th grid position, along with Dare in the Suzuki Swift into 12th grid position, 6th grid row. In a field that sees this furious competition between the Goodyear Falcon and Commodore. Fitzgerald furthest from us on this occasion, Jim Zarefos closest to camera there, and Mal Rose with us instead of being down there among the maniacs, as they get away now for 8 laps, 31.44 kilometres, and in car number 9, Gary McDonald doing well. And Mal, the start's pretty critical.
Oh yeah, terrific start from Jim Zarefos and the Falcon. He just managed to get that torque down and off he went, pulled second, and just managed to nip into the front of Peter into the first turn.
So Falcon leading the pack at the moment, a big lock-up further back. And slotting forward rudely was Terry Lewis, good on him. He didn't actually drive it into that position, the car catapulted itself.
Yes, I think when you've got locked all your steering up in the front, you're in the laps of the gods at that particular stage.
There are not many gods in this field. Bosanjak on the inside of the McDonald there. But everybody else getting into line astern, looking for an optimum entry to the corner, all chasing Zarefos, then Fitzgerald.
Well, do you think the Falcons have a bit more of an advantage around here than a Commodore?
Yeah, well, John, the advantage the Falcons got, and it's proven with Jim Zarefos winning nearly every round here, is the torque of the engine. In third gear, out of these hairpin corners, the Falcon just able to pull 2-3 car lengths on the Commodore.
That orange car of Todd Wanless, number 65. The Wanless family, famous and notorious in motor racing, as well as in scrap metal recycling. Yes, in fact, Zarefos was saying onto the straight, he said, oh, the NEC car out far too wide, and recovers well. But Zarefos was saying onto the straight, you rev it far too hard in second. You think you're going fast because of all the revs and the noise. Third, it's too slow, but it just gets going at about 4,000 revs in third gear on the exit of that corner onto the straight. It starts to pull away, but he's not quite as ideally geared as he'd like to be. Down the straight, though, he's holding his own well against Fitzgerald by 0.8 of a second. More than a second back to third place. Down the end of the straight here, where Zarefos's lead's gone out to 0.92 of a second, and the gap to third's 2.83. Down the end of the straight, it's a bit of a dab, isn't it? You've got to bring it back from more than 200 kilometres an hour to what? Say 190, boy, Wanless. Very sideways, but hung on to it well, and that would have been a very big moment.
Emulating his father, I'd say, at that particular stage. His father, an old speedway man.
Sideways again.
Todd's having a good go here.
As Fitzgerald narrows the gap to 0.73, but to third place, number 41, it's gone out to 4.65. That's Terry Bosanjak in third. And he's got his hands full too. A great old battle going on there with Gary McDonald in 9. Gary McDonald is not the actor. Oh, dear, oh me. Very unconventional. Todd Wanless doing it right. And again, an exciting time for Terry Lewis in 7. That's twice he's had four, at least, that he's had four wheels clear of the track, and puts him back behind the action Suzuki of, is it Brame or Forshaw there?
I think Lewis gets a fair bit of publicity for his sponsors, if nothing else. He's not
Forshaw it is.
He's not making a lot of headway on the leaders, but he's obviously getting a fair bit of TV time.
So Bosanjak and McDonald arguing over third place. The two Goodyear Commodore in second and the Falcon in first, battling for the lead. And this tremendous battle going on back behind the McDonald Bosanjak battle, but it's a beauty. Really close company, the sort of stuff that does fire up a driver.
Yes, the general should certainly be pumping with the little Suzuki guys here, and now they're top guys to race with. There's no real biffo in these guys. They just drive them hard.
You couldn't biffo with little Suzuki. They've got no weight. You'd shake your head and say, what was that? As 7, Lewis, goes by the foreshore Suzuki, 43. He comes forward a place, and he is making some good headway.
This is where the little Suzuki comes into its own and catch up all that little lost in the straight.
Good move. And Lewis right down the inside, firstly of Todd Wanless in 65 and then Gordon Levin in 8. And up at the front, the charge is on from Fitzgerald on Zerafos. Really close and trying to set him up, but getting a little bit untidy. So the order unchanged at the front end of the field. Falcon Zerafos leads Commodore Fitzgerald. And further back, this is the further progress of Lewis on Wanless after taking foreshore in the previous corner, down 2 cars at this corner, inside Gordon Levin finally, and since then, after a slow lap, Todd Wanless has retired. And the straight 6 of Jim Zerafos still doing the job over the V6 Commodore. Peter Fitzgerald, his Goodyear teammate, in behind, squirting now up to the last double apex corner before they come round onto the straight and rush down to the finishing line, and Fitzy's not close enough to do anything about the smooth driving, the precision of Jim Zerafos in the Falcon. Down to the flag, and Fitzgerald is slipstreaming, very close to him, but not quite close enough, and just over. A car length between them as the checkered flag comes out. Big margin back to Bosanjak in 41, but he's in control of that battle with Gary McDonald in car number 9, and it will be Terry Bosanjak into 3rd place, Gary McDonald into 4th in 9, into 5th, and thanks for entertaining us, Terry Lewis in 7, and then 42 took next, Mark Brain over foreshore in 43. The giant killing Suzukis